Are you confident going into people getting coverage?
I'm thrilled that we're going to have millions of people for the first time that have health security, and it should be a great new year for lots of families across America.
Do you anticipate any hiccups, or how are you guys going to handle that?
You know, I'm sure there will be some issues. There always are. People change plans every year. These are private plans in the private market, and you know, there are millions of people who change their insurance coverage every day.
It undermined faith, even among some on the left, I would say, in the liberal idea of activist government programs in a way that I think will make it harder for any future president to push anything approaching this scale.
Was this the pinnacle, Charles, of an annus horribilis for the president?
It was, and for, I mean, liberalism in a sense, because I think Howie's right. This is the signature achievement of liberalism. It was sold as something that liberals had aspired to for 100 years. And then when it rolled out, it was a disaster. And I think what's important about that is, unlike the other social innovations that liberalism has wrought, this is the one that affects absolutely everybody. You do Social Security, well, if you're in your 20s, it's way out there in the future. But everybody is going to interact with the healthcare system. Everybody gets sick. At some point, everybody is affected, and that's why it's done the damage it has. It's not a theoretical issue. It is a real issue.
Charles, your pick for 2013, other than Obamacare?
Look, it has to do, I think, with a remarkable change in social attitudes, generally speaking, libertarian. The swiftness with which the attitudes have changed on gay marriage is simply astonishing. When you think that 20 years ago, Democrats were the ones who introduced Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and that was a progressive idea. A Democratic president signed the Defense of Marriage Act, which was essentially abolished this year to the cheers of Democrats. And the fact that only 5 years ago, the president said that he opposed gay marriage because of religious reasons, which of course now he's rejected and he's changed on. That, I think, is an astonishing development. But it isn't only with gay issues. It's also the legalization of marijuana.
And legal sales begin in Colorado tomorrow morning.
Exactly. And a lot of people are hopping on planes and want to get there, especially a lot of 60s hippies who dreamed of a day when you could walk into a store. I mean, I'm not associating myself in any way with this.
You're just an observer. You just know people.
What time is your flight for Denver?
You remember what they say, if you remember the 60s, you weren't there. Well, I was there, and I don't quite remember that. You walk into a store now, Colorado, and you can smoke. But there's one exception here, which I think is the story of the year culturally, which is the opposite has happened on abortion. And in part because of the Gosnell trial, the fact that people are becoming aware of how late-term abortions are so near to infanticide, and also how the new technology, the ultrasounds, are giving people awareness of of how much an infant is developed in the womb. So, and with everything else heading left on this issue, the movement has stopped, and I think reversed, especially among younger people. It's an extremely interesting and unusual set of developments.
So does this become an election issue then for the midterms?
No, I'm not sure it does. I just think it's an issue sort of in the change of our attitudes. It does mean that you would have predicted 20 years ago that if people who remain hardline on abortion, anti the Supreme Court decision, would be written out of our political arguments, but that's not the case. It's still a country split almost 50-50.
We're back with our panel now for the winners and losers of 2013. Let's start with the winners of the year.
King of Russia, the Tsar of Russia, President Putin, who I would have said ran circles around Obama, but now I have to say he drank Obama's milkshake.
There you go.
Splendid phrase. And he's so secure at home that he released political prisoners as a way to show how magnanimous he is, as a way to clear the decks before the Sochi Olympics, which incidentally are going to be a kind of a vanity project. He's put billions into it as a way to show the splendidness of his Russia. It's not going to be exactly like the Berlin Olympics of 1936, a little like China in '08 as a way to show that this is the new strong Russia. And what he's done is a compliment to Jonah's story about the retreat of America in the world. What he has done is to insert Russia precisely in the places where Obama has created a vacuum, especially in the Middle East, where he supported Iran and Syria and Lebanon. A year ago, we'd have all said, some of us did, unfortunately, that Assad was done. But with Iran, with Revolutionary Guards, Lebanon, and Hezbollah, and with Russia supporting all of them, he's now in charge. It's a remarkable achievement, and it's because of the power and the
I'm sorry, Charles. Spill water.
and the confidence. Yes, I would.
Starting the party a little too early, John.
It's the vast left-wing conspiracy. Every time I try to
All right, let's go to losers. And Charles, other than me being the biggest loser for spilling water on you, who would your second choice be?
As I depart to the dry cleaner, let me just say that it was only water, folks. It wasn't wine or anything.
Have you smelled
stronger than that? No, I haven't smelled it. The obvious loser of the year, of course, is Obama. He had a terrible year. His numbers historically low. He had the signature achievement, Obamacare, as the focus of the attacks and of the demonstration of two items. The incompetence of his government, which I think is striking at the heart of the liberal idea of government as the manager of the economy and the cuddler of the population. But secondly, it's a matter of the trust. When he said, if you like your plan, you can keep it, period, that was fatal. And I don't think you recover from that, especially a president who came in on the charisma and trust and rhetoric and emotion. You break the bond and you can't repair it.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for that. My apologies, Charles. Certainly inadvertent.
I have a terrific dry cleaner, so I got no
Dangers of live television.
Send me the bill, please.
This has been a Sunfish production.